I want you to picture something. Not a glass house, because with a glass house, you can at least see people looking in. You can, draw the curtains. I'm thinking more of a panopticon, the concept.
Oh, yeah. The prison design where the watchtower's in the middle, but the glass is one way.
Exactly. So the prisoners, they never actually know if they're being watched at any given moment.
Which forces them to act like they're always being watched.
That is the vibe. That is exactly the vibe I'm getting from all the research you sent over this week. For the last, 10 years, crypto has felt like this. This vast, unmapped wilderness, like a concrete bunker or a private vault.
Right. You could move assets, you could build wealth, and as long as you didn't cash out to a traditional bank account, you felt, well, invisible.
Invisible, or at least, obscure enough that it didn't matter. But that whole assumption, it's dead.
It's not just fading, it's over.
It's dead and buried. We are looking at the end of an entire era. The sheriff isn't just in town anymore. He's installed high-def cameras on every single street corner.
And the really scary part, most people listening right now probably still think their private wallet is actually private.
That is the dangerous misconception. That's the thing we really have to dismantle today.
Yeah.
Because we're not just talking about some, boring new tax law here.
No, not at all. We are talking about a total global surveillance architecture. And it has a name. It's called CARF.
The Crypto Asset Reporting Framework.
It sounds so bureaucratic and boring, doesn't it? Like a stack of papers you can just ignore.
Right.
But this is the global dragnet. So the mission for this deep dive is to map out exactly how tax authorities all around the world have built this pipeline to see what you hold, where you move it, and who you're sending it to.
And just so no one thinks this is some far-off, 2030 kind of vision board stuff, check the date. It's January 2026. The switch has already been flipped.
The data collection is live. Right now, if you are operating under the old rules, the rules of, 2024, you are walking directly into a trap.
I think the biggest mental block for people, the thing they can't get past, is that not your keys, not your coins mantra.
Oh, for sure.
People think, look, I hold my own keys. I use a hardware wallet. I don't keep my money on Coinbase. So I'm a ghost.
And that right there, that is the single biggest knowledge gap we need to close today. Self-custody is. It's fantastic for asset security, don't get me wrong, but it is no longer a shield for anonymity.
Because the choke points have been turned into watchtowers.
The on-ramps and the off-ramps, they've been deputized.
Okay, so let's break the seal on this. We have to understand the architect before we can really get the architecture. Who actually built CARF? Because I see the acronym OECD plastered all over these documents.
Right. And to understand the OECD's role here, you have to look at what regulators call the visibility gap.
Which is just a fancy term for money they can't see, I'm guessing.
That's pretty much it. I mean, look at the traditional banking system. It's a well-lit room. For more than a decade now, we've had something called CRS.
A common reporting standard.
Exactly. So if you, as a U.S. citizen, go and open a bank account in, say, Switzerland or Singapore, that bank doesn't just hold your money for you.
No.
They are legally obligated to identify you, check your tax residency, and report your account balance back to the IRS.
So the whole romantic idea of this secret Swiss bank account where you hide millions from the tax man, that's been over for a while.
So for fiat currency, oh yeah, long gone. The banks are basically the eyes of the state.
Right.
Then Bitcoin comes along, then Ethereum, and suddenly you have billions, then trillions of dollars moving around the globe.
Hopping borders in seconds.
In seconds, and it's all happening completely outside of that CRS pipeline.
The regulators must have been absolutely losing their minds.
They were panicked. I mean, genuinely panicked. And they saw two huge problems. One was obvious. Revenue. They couldn't tax what they couldn't see.
Of course.
But the second argument, and this is the one they always use in public, is fairness.
Ah, the level playing field argument.
It's a really powerful political narrative, Why should a nurse or a teacher have their wages automatically reported and taxed to the penny, while some crypto trader flipping meme coins for millions gets to hide in the dark?
I've heard that argument a million times. And it's compelling if you're not the one holding the crypto.
Right. So the OECD steps in. Now, you're right to point out the OECD is not a government. They can't arrest you. They can't throw you in jail.
So what are they exactly?
The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, think of it like a think tank or a club for 38 of the world's richest economies.
The U.S., the U.K., the whole EU, Japan.
All the big players, and they don't make laws. They write standards.
Like blueprint.
They write the blueprint. And then because these countries effectively control the entire global financial system, they pressure everyone else to adopt it.
And if a smaller country says no,
they get put on a gray list. They might face sanctions. It becomes very difficult to do business. So when the OECD publishes a standard like CARF, it pretty much becomes global law very, very quickly.
So what's the core mechanism here? How does CRR actually work compared to, say, the old banking system?
The best way to think about it is what we were calling the banking mirror.
Okay, I like that. Explain.
The whole goal of CRF is just to hold a giant mirror up to the crypto ecosystem.
So that it reflects the same data as the banking world.
Precisely. And I really want to stress this point. It is not creating a new tax. CRF does not change your capital gains tax rate. It doesn't change what is or isn't a taxable event.
It just changes the visibility.
It turns on the stadium lights. It forces all the intermediaries, the exchanges, the brokers, the crypto ATMs to act exactly like banks.
So they have to capture your ID, they have to track your movements.
And then they have to package it all up in a standardized XML file and send it to your local tax authority every single year.
And the timeline here is, well, it's aggressive. We're recording this in early 2026.
This is the go-live year. As of January 1st, 2026, the data collection mandates officially kicked in for most of the early adopter countries.
So the platforms are tracking everything right now.
Right now. So if you made a trade this morning thinking, oh, I've got until next year's tax season to figure this all out.
It's already in the log.
It's in the log. And the really critical date is 2027. That's when the actual exchange of data between countries begins.
So that's when the IRS hands its data to, say, the UK's HMRC, and France's tax agency hands its data to Germany's.
It's a global swap meet of user financial data.
Which means the window to, get your house in order or structure your assets, it's not just closing, it's basically been welded shut.
Pretty much.
But, okay, here's the pushback I see online all the time. People say, fine, the big exchanges are compromised, I get it. I'll just use privacy tools, I'll use mixers, I'll stay in the dark forest at DeFi.
The dark forest theory, it's a romantic idea, but the regulators aren't stupid. They know those tools exist, and they aren't just watching them, they're actively declaring war on them.
We have to talk about Tornado Cash. That feels like it was the turning point, right? Where the government really stopped playing nice.
Tornado Cash is the precedent for everything that's happening now. For anyone who missed the details, it was a protocol on Ethereum. It used something called ZK snarks.
Zero knowledge proofs, which is just a fancy way of saying you can prove you own some money without revealing who you are or where it came from.
Exactly. It breaks the link. So you'd put, say, 10 ETH into one side of the protocol. It gets mixed in this huge pool with thousands of other people's ETH. You wait a little while.
And then you withdraw 10 ETH from the pool into a brand new clean wallet address.
And the math proves you had the right to withdraw, but nobody, not even the developers of the protocol, can trace which deposit corresponds to which withdrawal.
It's the holy grail of digital cash privacy. But the U.S. Treasury, specifically OFAC, they decided it was a weapon.
They dropped the hammer. Hard. They didn't just sanction the people behind it. They sanctioned the smart contract addresses themselves.
Which had never been done before.
Never. And their argument was that the Lazarus Group, the North Korean state-sponsored hackers, were using it to launder hundreds of millions in stolen funds to finance their nuclear program.
Which, let's be fair, they probably were. But the counter-argument from the privacy community was always, code is speech.
Right. Just because bank robbers use the interstate highway doesn't mean you should ban the highway.
That was the legal defense. But the government's position was, this isn't a highway, this is a purpose-built money laundering machine.
And the implication for CRF is crystal clear. If they can't see through a tool, they will simply make it illegal to use that tool.
It's effectively radioactive now, isn't it? If your wallet even touches a Tornado Cash address, you get flagged at every major exchange.
Yeah.
You're basically frozen out of the legitimate crypto economy.
And it goes beyond just freezing funds. I mean, look at the Samurai Wallet case. This was a privacy-focused Bitcoin wallet.
And the DOJ charged the founders.
Charged the founders with conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money-transmitting business. The numbers were huge. They alleged it was used to launder over $100 million in criminal proceeds.
So the message is?
The message is, we are building a surveillance state with very high walls. If you try to build a tunnel under our wall, we won't just fill in the tunnel. We will find the people who dug it and put them in prison.
This brings me to the part of this that, honestly, it genuinely keeps me up at night. We're talking about gathering these These massive databases of sensitive financial data, names, addresses, tax IDs, wallet balances, transaction histories.
All stored in centralized servers.
A honeypot problem.
It's a massive one.
It feels like a catastrophe that's just waiting to happen. I mean, we all remember the Ledger leak. We've seen the Equifax breach.
It is the ultimate jackpot for a hacker, isn't it? CARF mandates that every single exchange and broker keep this detailed dossier on every single user. If I'm a sophisticated cyber criminal, why would I bother with phishing attacks on individual users one by one?
No, you'd spend all your time and resources trying to breach one mid-tier exchange's reporting server.
And if you get in,
You don't just get their crypto. You get a detailed list of exactly how much crypto everyone else has, where they live, and probably their phone number.
it's not just a theft list. It's a kidnapping list. It's a blackmail list.
It's, hey, I see you have 50 Bitcoin in this cold wallet address. I also happen to know where your kids go to school. Send me 5 Bitcoin, or else.
That is the visceral, real-world danger of centralizing this kind of data. And that's just external hackers. What about the insider threat?
A disgruntled employee.
Or just a greedy one. Imagine you're a low-level support tech at an exchange. You get access to the CARF reporting database for a few hours. You can see who the biggest whales are. You can see their positions.
You could sell that data to hedge funds for front-running trades.
You could sell it to criminals. You could use it for blackmail yourself. When you centralize data, you centralize risk. It's that simple.
But it seems like the OECD and the regulators, they don't really care about that side of the equation.
Their number one priority is tax revenue. Security is, frankly, it's an afterthought in these frameworks. I mean, sure, they mandate certain encryption standards, but history has shown us time and time again that if the data exists, it will eventually leak.
Is anyone fighting back? Is there any public pushback, or are we just sort of rolling over and accepting this? I remember seeing something about a digital ID push in the UK.
There is a pulse, yeah, a faint one. The UK government tried to push a mandatory digital ID framework. It would have almost certainly integrated with all this financial surveillance stuff.
And what happened?
There was a massive public outcry. A petition got over 3 million signatures, and the government actually backed down. They dropped the plan in January of 2025.
So public pressure can actually work sometimes.
It can, but it tends to work when the threat is visible and easy to understand. A digital ID card is something tangible. You have to carry it. You see it. CRF is back-end infrastructure. It's plumbing.
It's much harder to get the public angry about an XML reporting schema than a physical ID card they have to carry in their wallet.
Exactly. And that's the quiet genius of it. It's just boring enough to be invisible until it's too late.
Okay, let's get into the gears of this machine then. We've been throwing around terms like exchanges and brokers, but CRF has a very specific, very broad term for who has to spy on you.
Right. The term they use is CASP. CASP. It stands for Crypto Asset Service Provider.
It sounds like a pretty generic corporate title, but the definition is incredibly wide, isn't it?
It's designed to be a catch-all. So, obviously, huge exchanges like Coinbase and Binance are CASPs, but so are smaller crypto brokers, so are crypto ATM operators, even some wallet providers.
Oh, wait, wallet providers.
Yeah.
I thought we just said self-custody was the safe back road.
Well, this is where it gets tricky. If the wallet provider offers services beyond just the software itself, so if they have a built-in swap button or a buy crypto with card button that routes through their own partners, they might fall under the definition, depending on the local laws.
So the Ledger Live app on my computer, that might be reporting on me.
The Ledger hardware device itself? No, that's just a key. But the services you access through the Ledger Live application? Potentially, yes. And this is why the toll booth analogy is so important to understand.
Okay, I like this one. Let's break it down.
All right, so visualize the entire crypto world as a country. You have all these wild backloads, these dirt tracks. That's pure DeFi. That's peer-to-peer transfers between two cold wallets.
I'm off-roading in my privacy Jeep.
Exactly. You can drive your Jeep on those dirt roads all day long. The government doesn't have cameras staked out behind every tree.
But eventually, I'm going to need gas, or I'll want to buy groceries.
And to do that, you have to get onto the main highway. The highway is the fiat banking system, or a major centralized exchange. And to get onto that highway, you have to pass through a toll booth.
The CASP is the toll booth.
And CRRF is the high-definition license plate reading camera they've installed in that booth. They might not know where you drove in the woods for the last 6 months. They have no idea what you did on the back roads. But they know the exact timestamp you entered the highway. They know the exact timestamp you left, and they know precisely what you were carrying in the trunk of your car.
And what specifically is that camera recording? What's in that data packet they send off?
It's all about identity linkage. That is the holy grail for them. They want your name, your address, your date of birth, and your tax ID number.
Link to the wallet address?
Linked to the address and the specific transactions. And they record specific types. So crypto to fiat, that's the obvious one, selling Bitcoin for dollars. But CRF specifically, and this is important, it specifically targets crypto to crypto trades.
This is a huge misconception for so many people.
Yeah.
I talk to people all the time who think, well, I traded my Bitcoin for some Ethereum, but I never sold for dollars, so I don't have to report it.
And that is the absolute fastest way to get an audit letter. In most major jurisdictions, the US, the UK, Australia, a crypto-to-crypto swap is a taxable event. It's a disposal.
So the IRFF tracks that.
It tracks that. It also tracks transfers. So just moving your crypto from, say, your Coinbase account to your Kraken account.
So they can start to build a network map. They can see, okay, this person moved 10 DTC from this exchange to that exchange.
And they can link those two accounts to the same single identity. They are closing all the loops.
Okay, I want to clarify something here because I even get confused by this sometimes. How is KeyRF different from the travel rule? We hear that term thrown around a lot in crypto compliance.
That's a really good question, and a lot of people mix them up. They're like cousins, but they work for different government departments.
Okay.
A travel rule is an anti-money laundering, or AML, tool. Its job is to follow the transaction. It's designed to answer the question, where did this specific money come from, and is it being used for terrorist financing?
So it's about chasing the bad guys.
Right. CARF is purely for tax compliance. Its job is to follow the user. It's designed to answer the question, who is this person and have they paid their 20% capital gains tax on their trades?
But for the exchange, for the CASP, it's all just one big compliance headache.
They just build one giant compliance stack. They take your ID once, they verify it, and then they feed that data to both the AML police and the tax collectors. It all comes from the same source.
And since we're talking globally, how does this work in a place like Europe? I keep hearing the term DC8.
DC8 is just the European Union-specific law that makes KeyIRF legally binding for all its member states. The EU is very, very efficient at this kind of top-down bureaucracy.
So DC8 creates an automatic cross-border exchange mechanism.
Yes. So if you're a French citizen and you think you're being clever by using a German exchange,
The German exchange is legally required to send all your data to the French tax authority.
there is no hiding across borders within the EU anymore. The walls between the tax agencies are completely down, and the walls around the users are going up.
Okay, so let's play this out. We've got the infrastructure in place. We've got the data flowing. What happens next? So what of all this look like for the average person listening right now?
Well, the first and most immediate implication is the end of crypto as digital cash. If I hand you a $100 bill, that transaction just evaporates into the real world. No record.
But if you send me $100 worth of USDC through a centralized exchange,
It is now etched in stone, recorded in triplicate, and reported to both of our governments.
which leads directly to what you call the audit trap.
This is the part that genuinely scares me for regular, honest people. In the old days, you'd file your taxes, and the government just kind of assumed you were being honest unless they found a specific reason to doubt you. Now, that entire dynamic flips on its head.
Because they have the answer key before you even sit down to take the test.
They have their version of the answer key, and their version might be completely wrong.
Oh, that's a good point. Because exchange data, historically, is notoriously messy.
It's a mess. So imagine an exchange mislabels a transfer out to your cold wallet as a sale. Or they lose the cost basis data for coins you moved onto the platform 5 years ago.
The tax authority's computer just sees a discrepancy.
The computer just sees, user reported zero capital gain. Our data shows a $10,000 proceed. Beep! Audit flag triggered.
And now the burden of proof is entirely on me to dig through years of blockchain transactions and messy CSV files to prove that I'm innocent.
All while you're facing penalties and interest payments. This is going to create these awful paperwork moments for everyone. You should expect your exchanges to start harassing you constantly to update your tax residency and confirm your personal details.
That sounds miserable. It sounds like all the fun of the Wild West is just being strangled by bureaucratic red tape. Is there any silver lining here at all? Is there a bullish case to be made for CARF?
I mean, if you're a massive institutional investor, then yes. The bullish view is all about one word: legitimacy.
The BlackRock and Fidelity argument.
Exactly. Pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, these enormous pools of global capital, they simply cannot invest in something that looks like a black market. They can't touch assets that might be funding North Korea. They need a clean market.
So CARF basically puts a suit and a tie on Bitcoin.
It creates a sanitized, regulated, and frankly surveilled environment where huge amounts of capital can finally flow in without their compliance departments having a heart attack. It removes the stigma.
So if every transaction is reported, then crypto isn't for criminals anymore. It's for investors.
That's the narrative.
So we trade our privacy for a higher price.
That is the devil's bargain on the table.
What about the people who refuse that bargain? And what about the flight to DeFi we talked about? Do you think we'll see this mass exodus of users just leaving the centralized systems entirely?
We're already seeing the sentiment shift. There was a survey I saw recently. Something like 57% of crypto users said they were concerned about government access to their financial data, and 42% said they would increase their use of privacy technologies in response.
But is that a practical solution? I mean, can you really live in DeFi?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? You can exist in DeFi. You can trade, you can lend, you can farm yield. But can you live there? Can you pay your rent from a DeFi protocol? Can you buy your groceries?
Not yet. The moment you need to convert that Monero or that DeFi yield back into fiat currency to pay a real-world bill, you hit the toll booth.
And the guard at the toll booth is going to ask, where did you get this?
And if your answer is, oh, I made it in a privacy-preserving liquidity pool, they might just say, sorry, we can't accept that here.
This is a really concerning idea of tainted coins. We could see a bifurcation of the entire market. You'll have clean crypto with a full KYC history that trades at a premium, and then you'll have dark crypto that has touched privacy protocols, which will trade at a discount because no legitimate service will allow you to off-ramp it.
That is a genuinely dystopian thought. Discounted Bitcoin simply because it hasn't been blessed by the state.
It's very possible.
All right, I want to pivot to the practical. We probably scared everyone sufficiently, but we need to arm them with knowledge. We identified 3 huge knowledge gaps in the research stack. These are the things people think they know, but usually don't.
Yes. These are the 3 questions every single person listening needs to ask themselves tonight.
Okay, knowledge gap number 1, taxable events.
Do you actually truly know what triggers a tax event in your specific country?
I feel like 90% of people still think it's only when they cash out to their bank account.
And in the US, the UK, Australia, and most of Europe, that is just dead wrong. A crypto-to-crypto trade is a taxable event. If you swap 1 Bitcoin for, say, 30 Ethereum, the government views that as you selling the Bitcoin for cash and then immediately using that cash to buy Ethereum.
So you owe tax on whatever gain you made on the Bitcoin portion of that trade.
And CIRF reports that swap explicitly. If you've been swapping hundreds of times on a centralized exchange thinking you're safe until you cash out, you might have a massive accumulating tax bill that you don't even know about.
Wow. Okay. Knowledge gap number 2, record keeping.
This is the boring one, but it's the one that ruins lives. Do you have a pristine, independent record of every single trade you've ever made?
The default answer is, well, the exchange has it.
The exchange has their record of it. What happens if they go out of business? Remember FTX. What happens if they change their data retention policy and delete records older than 7 years? What if they just make a mistake?
You're left holding the bag.
The burden of proof is on you. You can't show up to an audit and say, well, Binance ate my homework. You need your own CSVs. You need to be using some kind of crypto tax software to track this stuff yourself.
You need to be able to reconstruct your entire history completely independently of the CASB.
You have to.
And the third gap.
Knowledge gap number 3, the critical distinction between privacy and compliance.
This one's a little more subtle. Unpack that for us.
A lot of people conflate the two. You can and you should value your privacy. You should use self-custody. You can use VPNs to protect your IP address. You can do all of that. But that is a separate issue from your legal obligation to pay the taxes you owe.
People think if I'm private, that means I don't have to pay.
And that is not privacy. That is tax evasion. That is the thing that gets you jail time. The smartest approach, the approach the real whales take, is to be intensely private with your operational security, but 100% compliant with the letter of the tax law.
So don't confuse hiding with privacy.
Hiding is fragile. Hiding breaks the second CRF turns the lights on. Compliance is robust. If you've paid what you owe, a data leak is annoying and dangerous, but it's not legally fatal.
That is a crucial, crucial distinction.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap this deep dive up. If you had to summarize the entire CRF situation in, say, 3 short sentences, what are they?
Okay. 1. CRF is the new global surveillance standard that forces crypto companies to act like banks. 2. It connects your real-world identity to your wallet addresses and then shares that data internationally between governments.
And 3.
And 3. The system is live right now. The Wild West is officially closed for business.
It's the spotlight being switched on in a dark room.
And there are no dark corners left, at least not on the centralized web.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to chew on. We've talked a lot about the mechanics of this, but there's a really deep philosophical question at the heart of it all.
It's the question of the decade, really. Is financial privacy a basic human right? Or is it a luxury that we have to sacrifice in order to get mass adoption?
I mean, we all cheered for institutional adoption. We wanted the ETFs. We wanted the number to go up.
And this is the price tag. This surveillance architecture is the cost of admission to the mainstream, and the system is being built whether we like it or not. The walls of the Panopticon are going up right now.
The only question left is, will your personal records survive the scrutiny when the guard finally decides to look into your cell?
They know what you hold. Make sure you know what you hold, too. That has to be the mantra for 2026.
Absolutely. Check your local tax rules. Download your transaction history from every exchange you've ever used.
And don't be the low-hanging fruit when the first wave of automated audits begins.
Some very solid advice to live by. Thanks for taking us through this.
It was a pleasure.
Stay safe out there and watch your six. We'll see you on the next deep dive.